Back on the MSG 150 at Home presented by Chase, Bill Pidto and Michelle Gingras, and it's great to bring in the radio voice of the New York Giants, Bob Papa. Also anchors our post-game coverage here on MSG Networks during the season and also hosts a show on Sirius XM Radio. Thank you, Bob, so much for joining us. It's great to see you.
Yeah, Bill and Michelle, great to be with you as well. Hopefully everybody's safe and healthy.
So, Bob, we know you have not only great knowledge of the Giants, but an overall knowledge of the league. How do you see things progressing for the summer and in terms of a start date for the regular season?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it's still up in the air. The NFL, just announced that teams cannot travel and have joint practices during training camp, and teams that would normally go to remote locations like the Pittsburgh Steelers in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, or the Dallas Cowboys in Oxnard, California, can't do it this summer. They have to stay at their facility. They're trying to limit the number of people that the players and the staff are being exposed to. And I think it's really still the theater of the unknown. As we get closer and there's more medical information, things are subject to change. And we'll see if they can even stage 4 preseason games at this point. If they don't want joint practices and they want to keep teams separated, it's hard to imagine that they're going to go through a full preseason schedule. But again, the NFL, unlike the other leagues, which are already underway and trying to restart, have time on their side because they actually haven't started yet.
As you just alluded to, there are some teams, especially in the South, that kind of like to get away into Northern California for a few weeks at least. How does the warmer climate impact those teams, and how do you think that they'll adapt to try to handle the heat in the hottest months of the summer?
Well, I remember when Tom Coughlin was the head coach of the Giants, and we would be in Albany at training camp, and it would be one of those 95-degree days, and the humidity was up, and that's when they still had 2-a-day practices. And he would be like a kid in a candy store. NFL coaches love heat and humidity in the month of August for practices. They can't stand when it rains, when it cools down a little bit, because they feel that the heat and the humidity helps build up stamina and resiliency. And especially if you have a game early in the season and you're a Northeast team or a team from the North and you have to go down to Tampa or Miami or a Southern location, you want your players as acclimated to the heat and humidity as possible. So I think the coaches, although they may say that they like going north for cooler temperatures, I think they're going to love the concept of heat and humidity.
Bob, Giants, of course, have a first-time NFL coach in Joe Judge. In fact, not only is he a first-time NFL coach, he's never been a head coach on any level. What do you think about the current situation in terms of posing extra challenges for Judge and his staff?
Well, they won't use it as an excuse, nor should they, but it's a challenge. I mean, let's face it, for all of these teams that have new head coaches, it is a challenge having not stood physically in front of your team until you finally do. Now, for Mike McCarthy in Dallas, this is a guy that's won a Super Bowl. He's got experience as a head coach coming from the Green Bay Packers, Ron Rivera in Washington. But when you think about Joe Judge with the Giants, Matt Rule with Carolina, Kevin Stefanski with the Cleveland Browns, they may not stand in front of their team for the first time until they meet for training camp. Now, they've done a lot of work virtually, but it's going to be a feeling out process. And for Joe Judge, I think a couple of things that he has working in his favor. Jason Garrett is someone that's familiar with the Giants culture, having been a player there, understanding the history of the organization, and someone that has a really good reputation as an offensive play caller. He's not learning on the fly.
Not just understanding what the coach wants, but also adapting to new offenses and new defenses. As you just mentioned, rookie Daniel Jones, he obviously showed some promise in year 1. We know how critical, though, the jump from year 1 to year 2 can be for a quarterback. So how impactful can Jason Garrett be to his overall development and helping him to learn that new offense, mostly virtually, at least for now?
Well, I think just look at the work that Jason Garrett did a couple of years ago. When you think about it, Tony Romo was supposed to be the starter, and Dak Prescott, who was a 4th-round draft pick, was quarterback number 3 on the depth chart. But because of injuries, the next thing you know, Dak Prescott has to start, and all he does is lead the Cowboys to a division title. So I think this is a great setup for Daniel Jones to have somebody like Jason Garrett, who not only played the position in the National Football League, but has groomed and worked with quarterbacks like Tony Romo and then the development of Dak Prescott. Look, it's going to be a run offense. They want to be physical at the point of attack. And when you look at Jason Garrett's history as an offensive coordinator before he became a head coach, he had some of the top offenses scoring-wise and statistically ranked in the NFL. So I think this is a big upgrade, along with having Mark Colombo, the new offensive line coach, coming from Dallas, understanding what Garrett wants and making this group better up front. Look, they've added pieces in the offseason, but I even think collectively with the personnel that they have, they'll be a better group because I believe the coaching is going to take it to a next level.
Saquon Barkley burst onto the scene in his rookie year, as we know, winning Rookie of the Year. And despite injuries last year, he still managed to rush for over 1,000 yards in just 13 games. However, though, like I just mentioned, he was battling some injuries. So it seems even crazy to ask this, but could 2020 and a healthy Saquon maybe just set the stage for him to have his best year?
Well, there's no doubt they need him to have a year similar to his rookie season. I thought, last year he pushed really hard to come back from that high ankle sprain, and probably in hindsight, maybe he pushed himself too hard to get back too soon because he wasn't the same player, and that needs time to heal. But with him catching, 90 balls out of the backfield and being able to run the ball the way he did as a rookie, that adds so much to this offense, and it takes a lot of pressure off other people. And look, again, Jason Garrett's coming from the Dallas Cowboys. They got a guy named Ezekiel Elliott who knows a thing or two about running, and Jason Garrett knows how to utilize him. And I think Barkley's a better pass catcher. So Barkley playing like he did as a rookie will help the win total for this team appreciably.
Bob, we know you have a special charity event that you're involved in on Thursday called Cooking Because. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I've teamed up. I love to cook, and especially during the pandemic, a lot of people have found.
I wish I could say the same thing.
Well, listen, I always enjoy cooking. And one of my colleagues at Golf Channel, Billy Ray Brown, who's an on-course reporter, lives in Houston, Texas, and he's really into cooking. So we decided to come up with this fundraiser, Cooking Because. And what it is we're going to cook in our respective kitchens at 8 p.m. Eastern on Instagram Live. And we're going to show off our little recipes. But, when you think about all the people that have filed for unemployment, and when you think about all the people that will be out of work as we continue to come out of COVID-19, there are a lot of hardworking people out there who just can't feed their families. And the food banks need food. The homeless shelters need food. So there is a real need to feed America. So what we're going to do is we're going to cook live on Instagram at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you make a donation of $25 or more to help feed a family, we'll answer your questions online, whether it's golf, whether it's the Giants, whether it's the NFL or anything. And all the money is going to go to food banks across the metropolitan area and in the Houston area, and just make sure that no American goes to bed hungry each night.
All right, Bob. Hey, great luck with that. Great to see you, and stay healthy and stay safe, okay?
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show, and you guys stay healthy and safe as well.
All right, up next here on the MSG 150 at Home presented by Chase, paying respects to one of the toughest opponents the Knicks have ever gone against. We'll do that back with Alan and Wally right after this.